Welcome to the Fearless Female Entrepreneur Podcast, where you learn how to set aside your fears and limiting beliefs and step into the entrepreneur you are meant to be. Hi there, I'm your host, Katerina Kormas, mindset and confidence coach for female entrepreneurs and your personal cheerleader to success. I teach female entrepreneurs just like you how to identify and overcome your limiting beliefs and imposter syndrome mindset, step into and ignite your confidence, and unapologetically show up in your business as the fearless entrepreneur you are born to be. Each week, I share the wisdom, tips, insights, and motivation you need to overcome doubts and obstacles holding you back from success. You will walk away feeling empowered and ready to take bold action towards your goals and dreams. So, if you're ready to build the life and business you dream of, let's jump in. Hello, lovelies. So, if you have been following me on social media this week, I was chatting about my obsession with decluttering my house and finishing projects and getting through to-do items that I've had on my list for forever. I finally finished painting and cleaning out my home office. And this was a project that I started 2 years ago. I had gotten accent wall paint and other paint colors, and I had, painted parts of the walls, but I never finished it. And then last weekend, my client and friend, who is a professional organizer, spent 2.5 hours FaceTiming me, helping me go through 10 plus years of paperwork, which resulted in shredding 6 garbage bags worth of documents. Not an exaggeration. These are things that I've been thinking about doing, that I wanted to do, that I felt I needed to do, that just kept lingering. And we just don't realize how much real estate these types of to-do items take up in our mindset. Every time I went into my office, I'd be distracted by the things that needed to be done. I'd look at the half-painted walls. I'd look up at the ceiling and be like, I really need to paint these walls, but can I reach that high? Can I do it by myself on a ladder? How could I find the time to paint these walls? Or, just revisiting that fear over and over and over again of, getting on the ladder. My paperwork was creating this like mental chaos, trying to figure out what my, real financial situation and household situation was, because I just had just folders and folders of paperwork. And again, I would think about that every time I'd look at my files or I'd look at my safe. I had boxes in my office that things I needed to sell, things I wanted to get rid of, things I needed to find a place for. And the thing is, we don't realize how much stuff actually impacts our lives. If we're constantly thinking of all the things we have to do, it prevents us from doing the things we really want to be doing. It weighs on our brain, taking up priceless time and energy. So, for a moment, this is what I want you to do. I want you to close your eyes, unless you're driving, of course, and think about all the things you think you need to get done. So for me, the list was like painting my office, going through my paperwork, getting my hair cut, getting my car inspected, getting my broken water pipe fixed, cleaning out my closets, cleaning out my emails, organizing my digital files, selling things from around the house, purging old files from my computer. And the list goes on and on. And I know you have similar things that you're thinking about. Now imagine all of those items are complete. They're all done, off your to-do list, no longer things you have to think about. It's kind of peaceful, right? Like there's actually quiet in your brain. It's like this freedom. If you don't have that to think about, you have room for new thoughts and new goals and new things that you want to fill it with, things that are going to excite you and bring you closer to your goals. So now you have like all of this space to think of, how you want to move forward. Um, and so the thing is, that's physical clutter, but the same goes for your mindset. Your old limiting beliefs are mental clutter. They need to be decluttered if you want to see changes in your life and your business, if you want to experience success. So we all know the old quote of the definition of insanity, but here's the mindset edition: thinking and believing the same thoughts and beliefs over and over again and expecting different results. That's the definition of mindset insanity. Thinking and believing the same thoughts and beliefs over and over again and expecting different results. If you're holding on to that same limiting and negative belief, that in beliefs that are taking up precious mental real estate, how do you expect to have room for new possibilities and to make room for your confidence and to make room for what you're capable of? What you will get is like the same struggle, the same mediocre results, the same situation where you feel like you're like on that treadmill going nowhere, like you're taking all the action. This is where you're sitting there going, but I'm doing all the things. I have the strategy. I'm just not going anywhere. And the way I could describe it is, when you're doing a video game and you have like your little man that, and you forget how to jump, and he's just like walking and he's like, keeps walking into the brick wall. And because you need to get out of the way of the brick wall, you need to jump over the brick wall. And he's just like, that's what mental clutter is doing to you. Those old beliefs. You're taking the action, but you're walking into a brick wall and you just keep walking into this brick wall. You're trapping yourself in mental clutter. And in so many cases, it's like an episode of Hoarders, hoarding all of those negative beliefs, afraid to release them out of fear of what will come next. And we don't really think about that, right? We don't really think that there might be a reason why we're holding on to these beliefs, but I've done it. And I see so many people do it. And it just sounds a bit wonky, right? Like but how, like, why would you hold on to it? Why would you keep yourself from something great? And it's really, fear of success. And if you follow me, you know that I've talked about my fear of success. Can't even say that. Fear of success. I have had that over and over again, and I keep having, every time I want to up level my life and business, I have to work through it. And recently, I was in a bit of a funk as I was up leveling my mindset of my business. I wanted to get to a certain vision I had for my business. So I did this visualization where I envisioned my success 6 months from now. Say that 10 times fast: success 6 months from now. Um, and, in my mind, I have an ideal workday and business structure. And I decided, when I was doing this visualization, to fully step into that envision that I have, and envision it becoming this reality. And yes, I'm about to get totally vulnerable with y'all right now. And I'm going to show you how I was holding on to and keeping the same thoughts over and over again and what it was doing. Um, all of a sudden, as I was doing this visualization, my chest got tight and I got uncomfortable. And I realized that I was holding on to the belief that working with clients every single day, working with a specific amount of clients every day that I want to work with, connecting to my audience every day and my dream clients, hosting specific programs and services, and showing up visibly every day had to be hard. I had this belief that it had to be a struggle. Even though I teach my clients that it doesn't have to, I didn't realize that there was mental clutter still stuck in my brain that it couldn't be easy. And I realized, I was hoarding this belief that I had to struggle, and success had to be about long hours and blood, sweat, and tears. It couldn't come easy. What I realized is that even with this podcast, I always have in mind that to prepare an episode, it has to take hours and hours of preparation, and that it can't come easy, right? I sometimes think, like, because sometimes these episodes come easy, then I must be doing it wrong, right? Because it has to be hard. And so my business had hit a roadblock, and I found what was holding it up: my limiting belief that it had to be hard, that it wasn't real success if it came easy, that I had to prove my worthiness by working so hard. And because it wouldn't be fair that it came easy for me while others were still stuck in a struggle. Whoa, right? Whoa. All of that came out of this visualization. And reflecting on this realization, how could I see more success in my business? or make room to work with more clients if I held on to the belief that to get those clients, it had to be hard work. I was mentally putting up lots of roadblocks in and in my search for attracting more clients that I wanted to work with. um, that belief was making it hard. I was prioritizing that hard work and that struggle over the freedom of calling in those clients and having the time and energy to work with them. Taking it one step deeper, I realized that this belief was also affecting my finances. I had some business debt from growing both of my businesses. I had made some investments over the past years and they were great. They were positive investments, like no regret around them. But I recently realized that I was afraid to pay off the debt. I know you're probably like, "What do you mean you're afraid to pay off the debt?" But like go with me here. I feared that if I didn't have to make those payments, I wouldn't know what to do with that money. The freedom of not having these financial burdens was scary to me. If I wasn't struggling and worrying about paying the bills off, what would I fill that time and energy with? It would seem too easy. So I was basically becoming obsessed with the struggle. It was my addiction. I was like stuck in the mental clutter that it was causing. Somehow it kind of made me feel safe. It was creating some kind of safety net. But what it really was doing was limiting the possibility of what else I could focus on. Like have more time to love on and nurture my client relationships, or what else I could focus that money towards. It left me little room to take on more clients and expand my lifestyle. Um, the need to make being visible and running my business as hard as possible left me little mental real estate to do the one thing I wanted when I started my business, which was to impact others, to be at my desk, hosting one on one calls with clients. And I'm sharing with you today, this with you today, because we all have that mental clutter, that mindset clutter we're holding on to. It keeps us playing small, not taking action, not having the space and the freedom to go after our dreams or grow our businesses and to see what is truly possible for our futures and for our life. And no matter if that clutter includes the belief you aren't worthy enough, aren't qualified enough, that people won't approve of you, or that you have a fear of success or failure or of being judged or losing friends and family, no matter what the clutter, that mindset clutter is, these are all kinks in the hose of your success. They are keeping you trapped like quicksand, right? You're stuck in it. You're kind of getting deeper and deeper into these beliefs. Um, and we need to ask ourselves how long we are willing to hold on to the mindset clutter, the thoughts that don't serve us, that aren't moving us closer to our goals, that aren't giving us the life we dream of. If you want to stop worrying about money and you want to start earning more so you can pay down debt, how is your mindset that you can't earn more serving you? If you want to start or grow your business, but you're holding on to the belief that people won't be interested in your services or you're not qualified to make a difference and help people, how is that serving you to help you reach your goal of having a successful business? They're not. They're clutter. They're in the way of that beautiful strategy you have, that beautiful vision for your life and business that you have. These beliefs don't serve us. They're clutter. It's like, hoarding old magazines that you're never going to read, right? Or old clothes that you no longer fit in that have holes in them, right? There's not serving a purpose. They're clutter. They're noise. They don't have any space in your strategy, right? They don't have a place in your strategy to succeed. But now imagine you didn't have these beliefs. If you didn't have the belief of I'm not qualified, it gives you room to see how you're qualified. When you release them, you're allowing your confidence to have the bigger voice. Mindset clutter is loud. It shouts over your confidence. It's kind of like when you have clutter, like me in my office, I had things I had to sell. I had to clean out my one room. So stuff came into this office. And it wasn't easy to get and navigate the room. It wasn't easy to, you know, do work at my desk because there was so much stuff in my office. But when I got rid of that, it no longer like was so blatantly there. Instead, I could see how I could be productive. But when you don't have the limiting beliefs, when they're gone, when they're not in your way, you can allow your confidence to shine through. You can take the bold action without having to worry about those fears and doubts holding you back and popping back up. You'll lead with the possibilities instead of your past beliefs. And nobody wants to lead with their past beliefs because you can't have a future looking backwards. You want to lead with the possibilities, with the curiosity, with the exploring, with the new possibilities, so that you can see all that you're capable of. So I say this, I want you to do some reflecting. I want you to really dig into your mindset clutter. We talk about them as limiting beliefs and fears, but think about them as clutter because nobody wants a cluttered house unless you truly are a hoarder. Nobody wants a cluttered house. So let's think of those beliefs as clutter. They're noise. You can't hear what you're capable of if you're listening to the stuff telling you you're not capable of them. So I want you to reflect on all the things physically and mentally that are cluttering your mind. What to-do list items, things you're dreading doing, things you are procrastinating on, services you no longer get excited about offering. Maybe there's a social media platform you don't really get excited about marketing on. Anything you think you should be doing that you don't want to be doing, beliefs that are standing in your way of something you really want to do. It could be the physical clutter of like selling things online or cleaning out your refrigerator or cleaning out your closet. I want you to brain dump everything that comes to mind that pops into your head every day as something you're dreading, something you think you have to get done. And I want you to just brain dump it. Then I want you to take a minute and I want you to ask yourself, how are these items holding you back? How are they zapping your energy, your time, and your confidence? Where could you be now if you didn't have those? And then by releasing these items, ask yourself, what will you have room for now? How will your life and business shift by creating more mindset real estate for positive beliefs and success? I know you don't want to hold on to these beliefs. I know you. I know you are ready to have the space, energy, excitement, and confidence in a new path to a successful business, a business you've dreamed about. I know you want it to be easier than a struggle. And it's time for you to start seeing results and living that dream life and business. And so I really want you to reflect on what is that clutter? What are you like, you know what? Think about your mental clutter as you do your physical clutter. Is my belief that I can't host a podcast getting in your way of hosting a podcast? It doesn't serve you if your heart's telling you you want it, but your mental clutter is telling you you can't have it. Your mental clutter kind of loses. Time to get rid of it, right? So that's what I have for you today. I hope this was helpful. I have a fantastic podcast episode coming up in a few weeks. And we dive deeper into decluttering and the overwhelm that it creates and how it's exactly affecting your life. So I can't wait for that to come out. I stay tuned for that. I hope this was helpful and offered some aha moments for you. All right, y'all. I will see you all next week. Hi, lovely. Thank you so much for listening to the Fearless Female Entrepreneur podcast. I want to invite you to join me for the Confident Entrepreneur Bootcamp coming up from March 29th till April 2nd. This is a 5-day group coaching program where you'll ditch your mental clutter, like we just talked about, end your imposter syndrome thoughts, and ignite your confidence so you can make a bigger impact in your business. We'll identify your limiting beliefs, how they're sabotaging your business success, and focus on how you are truly qualified and capable of attracting and helping your dream clients in your business. So click the link in the description to sign up, and I can't wait to see you there. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button on the podcast so you get notified of the latest episodes right when they launch. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.